Imagine reaching your retirement years and realizing you don't have enough money to live comfortably. Nearly 50% of American households are in this exact situation. Stick around because today I'm going to show you the 5 biggest mistakes that I made that can completely derail your retirement planning. I'm also going to tell you how I got back on track. So first, I want to talk about the biggest mistake that I made: not having a plan. Failing to outline a detailed retirement plan can lead to insufficient savings. Without a clear roadmap, you might find yourself scrambling to make ends meet during your golden years. This means potentially struggling to cover your essential expenses like mortgage, healthcare, and even your basic needs. I realized the importance of having a retirement plan when I started to really learn about my retirement benefits. I found out that I would take a 2/3 pay cut in retirement. This hit me hard because I needed to find a way to have the same amount of income in retirement that I did at the point of retirement. So I started seeing the consequences of not having a retirement plan and thought about not having enough money to retire. I realized that if I didn't make a change, I'd never have my own time again, and I would work until I died. This realization was terrifying and motivating at the same time. So I started to learn. I started learning about my retirement and how to design and build a retirement plan. This brings me to the second mistake that I made, and that was starting too late. Delaying on retirement savings can reduce your nest egg due to missed compound interest. I used to think that investing was like gambling. I told someone that I would rather have a guaranteed nickel today over a possible dollar tomorrow. That mindset cost me dearly. So the lesson of generational savings: baby boomers born in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, they typically started saving around 35 years old. Millennials report at starting to save at around 25 years old, while Gen Z, those born after 1996, start even earlier, and that's around 19. This highlights the potential trend of younger generations starting earlier. Now, I delayed expanding my financial knowledge for 10 years. 10 years that I can never get back. Those early years are crucial for taking advantage of compound interest. By starting in my 30s instead of my 20s, I missed out on a decade of growth that could have significantly boosted my savings. The power of compound interest is immense, and starting early is key to building a substantial retirement fund. Now, I started with simple Google searches. My first search was how to get out of debt. I began reading the results, asking more questions, going to the public library, and reading everything I could on personal finance. This led me to the realization that I needed to start planning and saving immediately. So my advice to anyone in a similar position to where I was 10 years ago is to start now. Begin investing while you learn. The best teacher is experience. Get books, read websites, watch videos, and learn as much as you can, taking action with each new bit of information. The next mistake is not maximizing employer matches. In the first couple years of my career, I was very irregular with my retirement contributions. I adjusted them to accommodate my lifestyle instead of adjusting my lifestyle to accommodate my future. I didn't even contribute up to the 5% match that my employer offered. That was my money, and I left it on the table. A 2023 report suggests a link between financial literacy and claiming the full match. The report highlights the need for improved financial education, which could potentially lead to a higher percentage of people claiming the full match. So my employer had decided that my work was valued at an amount that included the 5% match, and I did not claim the money that was rightfully mine. This damaged me significantly. In my first 10 years, between myself and the match, I only contributed $40,000 and earned just over $4,000 in interest. If I'd contributed up to the match, I would have been in a much better position now. When your employer is willing to match retirement savings, consider that your money from day one and calculate contributions as an employment expense. Just like taxes or gas to get to and from work, do this from day one and you will not have to figure out how to afford it further into your career. Now, this small amount of interest that I earned early brings us to another mistake I made: taking on too little risk. I didn't learn anything about investing, and so I let fear rule my actions. Thinking of the stock market as gambling, I wasn't willing to take even educated risks. In fairness, I wasn't educated. This is why I only made $4,000 in interest in the first 10 years. That's just 10% of my contributions over 10 years. And that's what I should have been making on an annual basis. Being too conservative can result in insufficient growth, which won't help you reach your retirement goals. Now, a 2023 study by Vanguard found that 40% of retirement plan participants have less than 20% of their assets allocated to stocks. This suggests a conservative investment approach that may not keep up with inflation or get you the long-term growth that you need for retirement. Now, I learned about what investing is. And when I thought of it as gambling, I thought risk was all or nothing, just like roulette. But when I learned what the different funds were, what was available in my retirement plan, I learned what the risk ratings meant and what the interest rates over different time frames meant. This knowledge helped me take on more appropriate levels of risk and reallocate my investments accordingly. Once I had my retirement fund and it started to grow, I made another major mistake. I borrowed against my retirement savings. At the time, I didn't think it was a big deal because part of the terms was to pay interest to myself. And it was currently at the same rate my retirement was earning. But I was entirely in government securities with no risk and very little reward, earning just over 2% interest. And so a study in 2023 indicated that 30% of people who borrow from their retirement plans also reduce future contributions to repay the loan. And that's exactly what I did. I couldn't afford the contributions and the payback. So I reduced the contributions, sort of considered, hey, I'm paying myself back. It's still money going into retirement. And that created a double negative impact, hindering both the growth from contributions and investment returns. I didn't learn from my lesson. I dug the hole even deeper. Borrowing against your retirement can severely hamper your future by losing potential growth. It's a trap that can keep you in the cycle of debt and significantly reduce your retirement savings. If you are finding this video helpful, please like and share. Subscribe for more tips on securing your financial future. Now, by making all of these mistakes, I'm now having to put more money away for retirement. This means I'm worried that I won't be able to afford college tuition for my kids, and they'll be on their own for college. However, I have had conversations with my family, and they're convinced that with the education that I helped them gain at such an early age, they'll be able to recover earlier and faster than I did. So since I started taking retirement planning seriously, I've seen some incredible changes. I've gone from expecting to have only $200,000 in my retirement fund to expecting 1.8 million. I'm having to sacrifice a little bit more than originally planned, but I'll have a much better retirement and it will be earlier than expected. I started to pay myself first. Now, I didn't understand what this meant when I first came across the term, but since learning what it truly means, saving before spending, it's done amazing things for me and my finances. My original goals included drastically decreasing my lifestyle to be able to afford to retire. Now I plan to have the same or increased income in retirement as when I retire. This change in mindset and planning has given me a much more optimistic look on my future. So take action today. Start planning your retirement It's never too early or too late to begin. By setting goals and saving, investing wisely, and avoiding these common mistakes, you'll be securing a future where you can enjoy the fruits of your labor without financial worries. So if you need help figuring out how much you're going to need in retirement, check out this video next.